living in the hood. I haven't gotten enough money out of politics yet to move out of the hood and look back at the hood people. I am a hood brother.
All right,
So
man.
I will make sure that somebody from City, just like I have in the past, make sure that they do at least overlay the streets so we can drive on without tearing up our cars. And that's every street that I can until the money runs out. Not just one or two, and I don't want to name nothing after me. Just name it after fixing it. Because we need these roads fixed so bad, you almost tear up your vehicle riding down these streets. And that's senseless. We pay, as much taxes as we pay, as long as I pay taxes, I have a voice. And if you don't let me have a voice, then I want to withdraw my taxes and live in the part where I can just own myself. If you own the city, then you do what you want. But you don't own this city, it ain't your city. When you die, I'll show you. It still be left and you gone. So what we need to do is think common sense wise. You choose the person you think that will listen to you, listen to your cry, hear you, and feel you.
I'm sorry about that, we're out of time.
So I guess I better stand up this time, huh?
Yeah.
Let me say, I don't know if you're aware, and I made my constituency aware that in the city of Shreveport, we need $128 million for prioritized streets throughout every district. I don't know if you all are aware, and I don't know if you read the street challenge in the Shreveport Sun, September 17th. But we have a $128 billion need. In District A alone, where we live, we have a $28 million prioritized need. So $3 million would not take care of a $28 million need. Be mindful that the most recent concrete paved street within the MLK area, it was either Russell Road, Arger Lane, one of the four. They ran 2.7 million, 2.2 million, all of which are named by someone. But the fact remains, Hersey Wilson was a transit street used daily by your solid waste, by your city bus, by your children walking to and from school, no sidewalks.
I'm sorry, we're out of time, Ms. McCullough.
Okay.
We'll move on to the next question, Ms. McCullough, you can answer it. It says that the Cooper Road Martin Luther King community is the second largest black community in America, yet since our incorporation into the city of Shreveport, the Shreveport City Council has never truly embraced our community with strategic community development planning, nor have they made significant financial investments into our awesome community. If elected, what will you do to direct the appropriate attention and financial resources into our community? 2 minutes for this question.
Okay, and let me just remind, I know Ken Epperson, you remember how hard my father, when he was in office, fought against annexation for this very reason. But I will continue to do as I've been doing in the past, and that is seeking, collaborating with other resources, the Shreveport Chamber of Commerce, all of which we have now a street pavement management program. All of the necessary resources to get money channeled back into this neighborhood, I will continue to seek out those resources. Actually, we have fallen short because we have annexed. I haven't seen a difference since we annexed in the 1970s. So, and be mindful that there was a sequestration in 2012 that we were going to have budget cuts. We had an $85 billion budget cut with the military. We had $700 or $800 worth in budget cuts for family and children's services. So this is to be expected based on the sequestration of 2012. Everything is going to be cut, more so now than ever before. And I'm sure our state representatives are here and they can vouch for this as well. So just know that you have a representative that have made you aware of the sequestration when I traveled to Washington, D.C. to see about getting your rates, getting financial assistance from the feds to prevent the water rates from going up. So again, I have been on the battlefield and I have been looking out for this district, and I will continue to do that the next 4 years if you elect me as your city councilman.
Same question to Mr. Cooper.
I will seek out some of the nonprofit organizations and see if the city cannot work with them and create some jobs for some of the local people so that they can have someone they can relate to, and teaching the young people how to have skills and how to have mannerism and how to deal with the customers when they come and work with them and how to carry themselves so that we can work together with the city helping us with some of the local people, because we have a lot of nonprofit organizations I've been striving for years. Myself, for one, I have Words in Action, been had it for many years. I've taken children to Martin Luther King's house and to their church, etc. Trying to show some inner city youth that there is a way out of this type of attitude. Plus, we can change right where we are. We don't always have to move. Everybody don't have to move out of their neighborhood. Some of us can change the neighborhood. It's more decent tax-paying people than there are thugs and hoodlums. Most people wear their pants up than sag. I don't sag. So there's a lot of people. We need to set an example. Quit moving out and looking back at those people. Because we are those people when it boils down to it. Every one of us practically came up in some neighborhood kind of rough. But now we got a couple of dollars coming in, taxpayers are paying our salary, we dress nice and getting our nice rides and looked at those people. Somebody need to go, you are the somebody, some of those your grandchildren, your children, and you got your nose in there, grandma's still in the hood, and you won't even go visit because you don't, so what we need to do is change our attitude towards faking and fronting all the time and be real about this thing. And go ahead on and look at our children, work with them, mentor them. Don't just throw them out there. We have a neighborhood in our neighborhood in Allendale, the white people that moved in, and they got the whole place changed, looking just as nice. Right on the next street, there we have things ragged and nasty, hanging down for us. We got police and we paying their salary. Men don't even want to ride by there because they don't want to work. But if we pay taxes, you work or get out. And I think that's what we politicians need to do. If you don't want to do your job, don't run for office just to look good and talk noise.
Come on, man.
Do what you're supposed to do. If you're a mayor of the city, we should have never had this garbage dumped in our neighborhood. That trash was dumped. We had folks representing us and let the man build a dumping ground there.
We're out of time. Thank you, Mr. Bradford, the same question.
I mean, it's actually it's an embarrassment and a travesty that over 30 years in the community has not benefited from city resources. And the reason is leadership. I mean, let's just say we couldn't do anything. At least we ought to have people knowing that you fought for us, fighting to make it happen. I mean, again, if you was competent and qualified, and you had the courage to demand your fair share of the city resources, then things would have changed in this district, in this community. When I became employed with Willis Knight over 25 years ago, one of the things we did, Willis Knight, we lobbied to put a clinic up here, hoping that would have been a catalyst for other businesses development to come up here. Some have, but yet it had not panned out like we planned to be. This is my plan to do this. Same plan I use in Queensborough. We got to organize the community better. I know we got the MKCDC, and I know we got the Civic Club, but we need other organizations. This is the way it works, y'all. The city of Shreveport is not a panacea. It can't cure everything, okay? But you can. I want to organize at least 2 other community groups. I want to get you 501c3 status, okay? Right now, residents come to the city saying, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. That's not the way it works. In Queensborough, when we changed Queensborough, that's the way it works. It works like this. Don't come to the city saying, this is what I want you to do for us. Come to the city saying, we want to do this for ourselves. All we need is your help. Resources will come to individuals, because the city council is not a panacea. He or she would not make everything happen at one time, but working with other community groups and organizations, we can move a lot further. And I promise you, in 4 years, if I'm elected, we'll make that difference.
Mr. Bradford, you can answer the next question for us. What is the budget breakdown for the city of Shreveport, and what is your plan to generate more revenue to enhance the quality of life for Shreveport citizens? 1 minute on this question.
The annual budget for the city is over $500 million. $500 million. Including capital projects, is over $1 billion. But how much of that comes to District 8? Listen, y'all. Somebody once told me, I think Hillary Hunter said, listen, city council is not a prayer meeting. It's more like a bear meeting. You got to fight. You got to make your voice heard. You got to fight for your portion of the resources, because you pay taxes too. This community is over 15,000 residents. You deserve better than what you're getting. But the question is anybody fighting for you? We can make a difference. I promise you that your fair share of city resources will come to this district, because we'll make it happen, even if we have to do some radical things. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Cooper, same question.
Well, I represent District 8. I have in the past, and when I represent you again, I'll make sure that everybody gets their fair share. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I'm only gonna work for and fight for MLK. I'm gonna fight for the entire District 8, not just MLK. Because I think that everybody that pays taxes, every citizen should be treated fairly. Now, we need our roads fixed up here, but up in North Highland, roads are pretty good, but they want a flower bed in front. I will put the flower bed there because they pay taxes too. Everybody don't need the same thing, but everybody need to be treated fair. Make sense? So that's what I will do. If you elect me, I will serve. And you will know where I am because I'm right there in the neighborhood, so you don't have to worry about trying to find me or call the secretary, get an answer machine, another answer machine. I won't run you around like that. I'll answer the phone, I'll answer yes or no to your question and not hide from you. And I won't play games with you because I think now it's time we need to be real with each other. There's too much faking going on in every neighborhood now. People are not real anymore. And look at what we're losing our son. Did you know it's legal, just about legal to kill a black boy?
Mr. Cooper is out of time. I'm sorry about that. Ms. Wilson-McCullough, same question.
Yes, I want to make you all aware and remind you that we had $5 or $6 million for streets through the stimulus package. You know where that money went? To I-49. So yes, we've had monies, but you know, with the budget cuts, monies are being shifted around. But I can promise you, through working, as I said, what I've already been doing, and that is working with other resources, other agencies, with the associations. On the MPC, I served as a chairperson to change the Unified Development Code, which hasn't been changed since I was 2 years old and I'm 58 now. And that code modernizes developments and things of that nature that you so wish to remain and those that you wish to be removed. Until we get those codes changed, this city will not move forward the way that it should move forward. But just know that I'm there fighting, I've been fighting, and each time each and every one of you have ever called on me, I don't know anybody in here that have actually, and I say called on me, not called
Ms. McCullough, we're
at
out
me,
of time.
I answered. Thank you.
I'll let you answer the next question. What is your plan to help us ensure that the Harrelson landfill is shut down? 1 minute on that question.
Well, as far as I can recall, you know, 2 weeks ago we met with we met with DEQ and EPA, and we're guaranteed that the landfill is shut down. So I don't know that the landfill will reopen because the owner in the landfill was told that he would have to leave, and the state would come in and put the fires out. And once the state comes in to put the fires out, they would have the owner to come back, Mr. Hicks, and clean up the landfill. So I'm almost sure and positive that that landfill would not reopen again due to the health hazard that it has caused, not only to our community, but most of all to our senior citizens. So I'm guaranteed at this point, based on our meeting 2 weeks ago, you know, we didn't come back and tell you it was closed, and then when you looked around, the gate was open and trucks were driving up in there. When you pass by there now, since our meeting 2 weeks ago with EPA and DEQ, the gates are closed. So I'm almost positive that the landfill will not reopen.
We're out of time, Ms. McCullough. Mr. Cooper, the same question.
If I'm elected, I will make sure that it closed and stay closed. Because if they don't respect my wishes of closing and keeping it closed, then I will file a lawsuit against them, whoever it is. I'll play no games with them. And I will give them a set time to close it. And when I was in the meeting lately, I understand they want to keep it going so they can keep drawing some money, and they're going to close it later on as they draw money. But no, that's camouflage. If you want to close, you can shut it down now and stop the truck from coming in. So I will make sure, or the city will hold them liable and responsible for closing it or suffer a lawsuit. And I'll get with all of the other politicians working in Baton Rouge to help me on that level, because I work as a city representative, but then I need their help as well at Baton Rouge. And I will contact them and see if they can help me to take care of their business, because the ship never should have been created in the first place. With our elders living here and smell that stuff, they couldn't have put it anywhere else but right here. You ever thought about where they put it? There are a lot of places. It's a big city. Why right here? Because we don't speak up enough. We don't stand together. We're so divided. We just criticize each other all the
We're out
time.
of time, Mr. Cooper. Mr. Bradford, the same question.
The landfill was burning for 4 years. There was a big explosion on June the 8th. I was notified about the explosion. I immediately called a meeting at my facility to talk about the landfill and the health and safety risks that the residents was enduring because of that. The mayor called a meeting a day ahead of my meeting and gave some reports. My point is that I have been working with Senator Tarver since June the 8th. We met with the DEQ 4 times. We had individual meetings. As of 7 days ago, the DEQ, well, let me go back, a month ago, the DEQ gave Harrison a criteria on what needs to happen by October 1st, or they was gonna take over the extinguishing of that fire, and they was gonna take over.
We're out of time, Mr. Bradford.
And it's closed, the landfill is closed.
You can wrap, 1 minute wrap, and your platform and your wrap.
Residents, let me just say this. This is a very crucial election, not only for the mayor, but for the city council. We had a crossroads in Shreveport. I think Jackie Dozier said it promptly. The best way you can tell what somebody's gonna do is what they've done. If you don't do nothing else, do this for me. I want you to examine everybody up here on this podium. Examine their work, examine what they're doing. Don't listen to what they say now, because what they say don't always equate to what they're doing. If you would examine each of us up here and vote your conscience, I think you make the right decision. But as far as District 8, there's no one on this podium that has the experience, that has proven, that has the know-how to make the quality of life better for the residents of District 8. I work up here. I have a investment up here, and I'm telling you that we will do better because because of my leadership and my experience have prepared me to do this. Thank you.
Mr. Cooper, 1 minute wrap and platform.
Yes, ma'am. Work and experience has been my life. I have raised 3 children as a single parent, put them through school, and they left here and went to Dallas to get jobs, because there aren't any jobs here. And I'm raising 1 more now by myself. I can't raise them with a wife for some reason. I'm too hard-headed. But I raise the children. I can leave a woman, but I don't leave my children. I can divorce the wife, but I can't divorce my blood. And I wish the brothers would pick up on that. Stop leaving your children, because that's your job. You got them help, take care of them. But anyway, make a long story short, I will represent just as I have in the past. If you will take one of my sheets, you'll see what I've already done. May the works I've done speak for me. I'm not just a bunch of hot air noise. No, I'll do what I say, or I'll say what I'm just going to tell it like it is. And I'm not trying to look good or be proper or anything, because I don't know a whole lot of big words. I got education, but my education ain't as good as a lot of these people. But I do have a heart. I had the heart of Jesus to help anybody. And anybody know me know that. And I'm going to be honest with you and frank with you. I'm not going to play games. I have never have.
We're out of time, Mr. Cooper. Thank you.
I want to preach.
Let me just say, first of all, I'm serving you not because of the desire of Hershey D. Wilson, not because of the desire of myself, but because I was called. And I'm going to continue to serve you because I am compelled and called to continue to serve you. I have been serving you for over 16 years now, and I'm looking forward to serving you the next 4 years. I have always been a voice for this community. Right now, you know, I'm fighting for our city employees to get raises. Most of you all know I fought against the 15-year leases that came up here from 2004 to 2007, all by myself, and a lot of you sitting here today. Also, I want the senior citizens to know that you have not been excluded from the community development services and programs. Just know that over 83 senior citizens have been served, and over $700 million have been spent for services such as those services that you have been requesting. And it is my goal to make sure your names get added to those lists. Thank you.
All right, let's give these candidates a hand. We're going to move forward in our forum and head over to the mayoral questions. And I'm not as young as they used to be. We'll start with Patrick Williams, and we'll go with the first question. You'll have 2 minutes for this question. Do we have a mic over there for you? Yes. Perfect. All right, this is the question. As the second largest predominantly black community in the U.S. and reportedly as having some of the worst streets and drainage systems in the city, do you have a plan for repair and maintenance of the streets of the MLK neighborhood? This will be 2 minutes.
Thank you, and it's good to be home. This is home for me. And my mom and dad told me it's a sad dog that can't wag his own tail. The plan is to go back to the basics. Scrub the budget. We have to put the dollars where they're going to be used. Once we do that, that's how we can direct those dollars to where the streets that we have, the big problems that we have with our streets. I guess this is really personal to me because when you look around and see that this is the largest neighborhood in the nation, in the condition that it's in, it's just the lack of the leadership and the lack of the will to make it happen. That's all it takes. Who do I have to ask when you're the mayor? I mean, if this is something that you do, you put the dollars where there are. You're tax-paying citizens here as well. You're tax-paying citizens. And so I would direct those dollars to where they're used, where they're needed most. This is where it is. It's an easy, simple solution. Just put the dollars where they're supposed to go. We're going to scrub that budget, stop all the waste, and put the dollars to use for the citizens of this area. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Tyler, same question.
Thank you. I also would like to say thank you to the host for having us here this evening. As I think about the question, and of course we've thought about it because I used to live also in the MLK area, we will first look at efficiencies within the department, within the city, and to make sure that the budget is being used what we need for it to be used. We're going to align all of our resources with the needs. Now, there has already been a tool that was purchased by the city to look where the most streets are that are in worse repair, that needs to be repaired, the worst streets. And some of those streets are here in the MLK area. And we have also been trying to make sure that we look to see how that process is working. I don't know how it's working, but I promise you I will find out how it's working. We're going to take a look at what tax dollars have already been collected by the city to be used in the MLK area. For streets and drainage, we're actually going to implement some of the projects that have already been approved. As I ask for records to determine exactly what projects are already approved, we have many projects that have already been approved. Money has been allocated, and we will commit to you that we're going to start implementing and get the streets done. We're going to clean up and beautify this community. We'll be holding meetings out here with our city council representative, and we will ask you, the people, what you think about how we're using the funding and how we can better make a difference. But for streets and drainage, there is money that can be used, and we will find some more dollars. We will pull together the legislative delegation. If we need to go outside of our city to get resources, I'm going to hire a grant writer manager. Yes.
Ms. Provenza, same question.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Victoria Provenza. My background is a bit different from all the other candidates on here. I am a geologist and I do consulting for cities and municipalities across the United States. One of the things that's very difficult in the MLK area that we've looked at is that your substructure is not there to support a repaving program. So you can't just continue to surface the streets, and you guys know this, right? Because your streets go like this. And so there is a substructure issue, and if you go directly across Harrelson, and I hope we're asked that question later on, if you go directly across Harrelson, you'll notice that that's basically a swamp that goes all the way to Hearn. So the roads need to be looked at more of an engineering perspective to be corrected. Because right now, without a comprehensive solution addressing MLK, you're going to continue to pave and repave and resurface with the same results. So I ask you to take a look at my campaign, Victoria Provenza. What we are doing is we're building comprehensive solutions that address this problem once and for all. It's actually a citywide issue, but it is more directed here in MLK because of your subsurface geography is very different than in the other parts of the city. So it's an engineering solution. more so than a surfacing solution for MLK. And I will definitely direct the funding towards that. I was the consultant for City Council 5 years ago on the pavement management system that they are now implementing. And fortunately, there's also a new tool for City Council that's going to be coming online in the next year, where you can actually do an area of interest and you can see as citizens, and that's what we're going to do, is port that out
Ms.
so it's
Robinson, we're out of time.
transparent.
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. Sam Jenkins, same question.
Good evening. My name is Sam Jenkins. I'm a former member of the Caddo Parish Commission. I currently serve on the Shreveport City Council representing District G. When I came on the council in 2010, I was appalled to learn that we only had $1.5 million of our tax money that was really going to repair streets throughout the entire city. You've already heard about how much money it takes to repair a street. That simply was not enough money. The 2011 bond issue about another $21 million available for street repair, but most of that was for concrete streets, long-term capital projects. What I did as a member of the council, I initiated a street special revenue fund. What we did was took part of the SWEPCO franchise fees, $6 million a year for the next 25 years, put it in a special fund, and that money is now being used for street repairs. Some of the repairs you see that are going on around the city right now. Some of that money is for overlay, but a lot of that money is also going to be used and was used for the pavement management plan that you hear some of the candidates talking about. That's where those funds came from. In order to really get to the heart of the problem here in the MLK area, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take street repair out of politics. You're going to have to take it out of the hands of the council people. We inherited that problem. When we came on the council, what the departments does is take the money, they split it up 7 ways among the council members. If we can get these pavement management plan an objective method of looking at streets in place, I am sure that the roads and the streets here in this area are going to be at the top or near the top simply because of the condition they are. Not only the main roadways, but we do need to get back into the neighborhood roadways also.
Ms. Arpino, same question.
Before I start my time, can I correct my name on here? Somehow I've got a name of M. My first name is Anna Marie, for those of you that have the sheets. It's got Anna M. I guess I'm thinking that's M's a middle initial. My first name is Anna Marie. My last name's Arpino. I'm ready.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Up here on this, again, my name is Anna Marie Arpino, and I am running for mayor. Up here, I'm the only large contractor that actually did work in Caddo, Bossier, and all over here, about to the tune of about $240 million in the mid-70s. Whenever I hear subsurface soil is your problem for your streets, everything I can do not to laugh, and no offense. But if that were the situation, we would do what's called post-tensionate. The reason we don't is that's not the problem. The problem we have is, when I was working it back in the 70s, if it was MLK or if it was Allendale, it would be called emergency work. I think it was $3,700 an hour, because you all weren't worth to get a rebid, okay? When it's bid, what's happening to your streets, you're not getting your money's worth. When it's bid, say it's 50,000 yards of concrete, they're bidding it, you're paying the contractor for that 50,000 yards of concrete. You may get 28,000 yards, and within a year it's like this, and there's holes. That thing's supposed to last about 16 years. You're being cheated. And as mayor with a contractor's background, believe me, I will look at that wet cylinder, which is how I paid my college education for 7 years, that wet cylinder and the cylinder at the end, to make sure you got your money's worth. Then I'll allow the city to pay the contractor. This has been going on for 42 years. That's why I'm running. I'm losing $37,000 if I come mayor this year than what I made last year. Doesn't matter to me. I want a good town, a better town for all of us. I was raised in D.C. with all diplomats' children. I came here diversified trained. We're all the same. Heart, blood, brain. Everything else is just cosmetic. Please put me in the mayor's chair so I can get your roads for you, especially in MLK. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Slack, if you would, Mr. Bradford, if you would be so kind to switch seats with Mr. Slack, or you could sit in Mr. Young's seat so that you can sit down there with the mayoral candidates, please. has agreed, Mr. Slack, you will have 1 minute to address the question. The question is, as the second largest predominantly black community in the U.S. and reportedly as having some of the worst streets and drainage systems in the city, do you have a plan to repair and maintain the streets of the MLK neighborhood? 1 minute on this question.
Well, since I don't have a 1 minute, I ain't got time to play no game. I was late coming here, and when I was on my way here, I almost turned over trying to get to 1341 Russell Road because of the bad road condition. But that's one of my goals, to make sure all the streets, not just here in Martin Luther King area, but all over the city of Shreveport. We don't blacktop everything, whether people like it or not. There's enough money in the budget for all these streets in the city of Shreveport to be repaired, to be fixed. And we need to stop playing and acting like we're gonna do this and do that. So we need to go ahead and put someone that's in the mayor's seat that's actually gonna do exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And I vow right now to be the best mayor in the city of Shreveport has ever had, because God has called me for this seat, and I plan on staying as humble as I possibly can in order to be able to maneuver the way the streets need to be fixed in this city, because the streets are tore up all over this area. For Line Avenue all the way over to Southfield area is fine,
We're out
but
of
from
time, Mr.
here
Slack.
it's tore up.
Now, you can answer the next question. In 1 minute on this question, it has been widely reported that for the past 8 years, city workers have not had a pay increase in the sanitation department. What is your plan for getting a raise for these dedicated and loyal service providers? 1 minute.
1 minute. The vision God has showed me for all city workers, starting November 5th, whether people like it or not, all city workers will begin to make $10 an hour, at least $10 an hour. And as nasty as well as those trucks are, I just got through talking to men today on back of trash trucks, just smelling real bad, looking bad, and have to go back to their families looking bad. But all of them will make $20 an hour, because there's enough money in the budget in order for those young men that have to be on back of all those nasty trucks all day to be able to make the type of decent money they need to make in order to take care of themselves as well as their families. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Williams, same question. 1 minute on this question.
Well, actually, I served as a sanitation worker for 2 years as I attended Southern University. The plans that I have now is going back to the basics. I mean, it's just that the monies are there. The money's definitely there. And actually, for those sanitation workers, I could get those funds just simply out of the administration's budget. It's overly, it's packed. It's too high paying jobs in that just in administration. So when I go in, I'm scrubbing the budget. Listen, I'm scrubbing the budget. It's called zero-based budgeting. Zeroing out all of those programs that are not being utilized correctly. There's so much money being wasted. There's too many people hired making dollars that are not doing the job that the people outside are doing. I mean, the workers are the ones that deserve the pay. That's where those dollars are going, and I'm committed to doing that. And again, that can be done just tremendously.
Sorry about that. Ms. Hyler?
Okay, thank you so much. We will actually assess what's happening with our dollars in every department, and we will ensure that the money is being spent where it's needed. In order for us to be able to give raises to our city workers, and certainly they do deserve raises, we need to ensure that the money that we are spending, the money is there to address the needs of the city. So once we do that, we'll scrub, as Mr. Williams said, the budget, but we'll look within the departments. When I became CEO for the school system, the first thing we did was to look inside to see where the inefficiencies occur. And once we were able to do that, we were able to align the money with the needs. And then we found extra dollars. We were able to grow the reserves from $4 million to $36 million in 4 years as a CEO. So I believe, with my experience, I can go into the mayor's office.
Ms. Tyler, we're out of time. Ms. Provenza, same question.
Thank you. I'll finish for you, Ollie. Because I'm going to agree with both Patrick and Ollie on this issue. The city budgets have got to be scrubbed. If you've been to any previous forums, you've heard me talk about there is mismanagement in contracts, and so there's a whole bunch of money that is currently being wasted because the contracts are not managed properly. So there will be money being more available to look at distributing the money that the taxpayers pay more fairly to the citizens and also the city workers. So my question for you is for people who have been in leadership roles or holding leadership roles, is why isn't that being done now? So what I ask you to do is look at somebody who is going to be bringing some fresh new ideas into the city and what's worked in other locations, and then let's make it work here in Shreveport. Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins, same question.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as a member of the council, I have already been working on issues such as this. The question implies that no kind of pay increase has taken place over the past 8 years. That's not really correct. As chairman of the council in 2012, I put forth a budget amendment that gave all our employees a 2% across the board pay increase. I am even now advocating that our employees receive a one-time $1,000 bonus if for no other reason for employee morale until the issue of a pay raise or pay increase can really be addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, when people began to say to you things like scrubbing budgets, you need to ask some particular questions about what is you saying you're going to scrub. What exactly are you going to eliminate? Are you going to eliminate public safety? Are you going to eliminate public works? Are you going to, what exactly are you going to scrub away and eliminate for the pay increase? Now here's the reality of the situation. I support
We're out of time, Mr.
a
Jenkins.
pay increase for our city
I'm sorry,
workers.
Mr. Jenkins.
Be happy to meet and talk with you about the particulars after the meeting.
How long do I have?
1 minute.
The other night at Broadmoor, Neighborhood Association, I was the only one that actually brought the financial statements with me, because I'm the only degreed accountant up here that can actually read the financial statements. And I said it has to be scrubbed, and boy, everybody just hopped on. But yes, I will give raises to the city employees, because when I met with the Chamber of Commerce, and they told me that they could work with me as mayor, I have found a way to get the raises, won't cost us a penny. I'm going to get rid of the outsourced contractors that are hanging on the city that the good old boys put there behind these folks. They're doing the same jobs as our employees are doing, only they're getting $9 and $10 more an hour than our employees, and it's hurting our employees' morale. And I know that because I'm a past HR director for the hospital. We need to up the morale, give them a raise. I found a way, by cutting the outsourced contractors, they can all have a raise and it won't cost
We're out
us
of time,
money.
Ms. Arpino.
Thank you.
Mr. Slack? Oh, we started with you. Ms. Arpino, let's go to the third question.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your plans to enhance the T-bone policies here in Shreveport?
Are you speaking of T-bone as in the police department?
The Department of Property Standards T-bone concept.
Okay, those, okay. The other ones hadn't been brought to the table yet, I was surprised.
1 minute on
Yes.
this question.
Okay, and I'm ready. Property standards are very important. And to be honest with you, there's a whole lot of money when I looked at the consolidated financial statements in that department. First, I need to see what they're doing with that much money. Because property standards, we should not have the litter we have. We should not have the low standards in property that we have in the tall grasses with what I'm seeing in that particular division, the money that they receive from the city. So first I need to look through what they're currently doing, but I need to strengthen it. We don't need to live in litter. We don't need to live in substandards. We need to live in the Shreveport that we've always known. I've been here 50 years, we can do better. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jenkins, same question.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am a strong supporter of Operation T-Bone. As mayor, I will keep it in place. I'm a strong supporter of Operation T-Bone because I'm a strong supporter of neighborhoods. What I want to do is implement a phase 2 to Operation T-Bone. The first thing we're going to do is establish a central call center. I think if you really want to know the problems in the neighborhood, you need to be able to listen to the residents who live there. So we want you to be able to call one number, give us the concern, let's track that concern from the time it comes in until the time we get it corrected. So we're not just passing you off from department to department. The second thing we want to do is establish an environmental court. What I'm trying to do there is have some accountability from people who intentionally and repeatedly violate our codes. If you get a traffic ticket, you'll go down and pay it. If you get a citation from code, you may not pay that much attention to it if someone is not trying to make sure that you are accountable for what you're doing. So those are the first 2 steps I would take within my first 100 days as mayor.
I agree with you, Sam. I am also very much in support of the T-Bone program, and I'm actually glad that D.D. Otis is here because and one of my big platform issues is to get rid of the waste is duplicity in government. We have 4 law enforcement agencies within Caddo and the city of Shreveport. So I would fully utilize the city marshal's office for enforcement of a lot of, the evictions and the property standards issues that occur. And take the Shreveport police out of it, put the Shreveport police back to what Shreveport police is supposed to do. There's another program that we need to look at, particularly in areas like MLK. I also live here, I live in North Highlands, so thank you for putting in our flower bed. Is absentee homeowners or absentee landlords. There needs to be more stricter standards on the absentee landlords who may live in another state, they've inherited this property, and we are not really coming down on them as we should be. They are the homeowner.
We're out of time.
Thank you.
Okay, I have looked at Operation T-Bone and I feel like it's a great concept. And what I plan to do is to actually look to see if we are actually implementing the process. We will look to see when the complaints come in, what happens with enforcement of those complaints. I believe that with a database and a central location of when people call in, you won't get passed around. We have to be very, very open, and we're here to serve the people. So when the complaints come in, then we need to make sure that those complaints are addressed and addressed immediately. So we'll look at Operation T-Bone, we'll look to see what the process is in place. We will effectively implement that process. Now, if we need to overhaul that process, if we need to tweak that process, certainly we will do that. What I found when I became CEO of several large organizations is that we don't implement. Thank you.
Ms. Orfino, you have attorneys, geologists, CEOs. I have a degree in architecture, MBA, and I'm finishing a PhD. Worked on appropriations with a $26 billion budget. So to say that anyone can't read a budget, I think you need to check yourself on that particular one. Listen, what we do, T-Bone is definitely a great project. However, what we need to do is look at the red tape on this and assure that those services are being implemented in each neighborhood fairly. And give those workers the leeway to do their jobs. Because I can understand that they come in different neighborhoods and actually apply different rules. And so that's one thing that I would definitely add to the T-Bone to make sure that the workers are given the leeway to do their jobs in every neighborhood that they're supposed to do. Thank you.
Mr. Slack, same question.
Good evening. If I'm not mistaken, T-Bone stands for taking back our neighborhoods every day. And it's supposed to be to serve and protect our local citizens. And I know of the T-Bone, but I can't say I support the T-Bone right now due to the fact that police all over the world right now are killing black people for no expense right now. I mean, blacks are getting killed all over this world, and no one is being held accountable for it. So right now, no, I do not support anything that the police are doing right now, because the police are supposed to be serving the communities and supposed to be respecting all the citizens as well as protecting the citizens. But when I become mayor, I will make sure that things are done the right way, the proper way, God's way, and it will be done decent and in order. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Slack, the next question is for you. If you have plans for changing the city's current budget to trim waste, please elaborate on where the waste is in the current budget and what you would specifically cut.
To be honest, as far as waste is concerned, there's waste all over the city of Shreveport until you get to the Line Avenue area, to be honest. And waste needs to be picked up all over the city of Shreveport, especially right here in these predominantly black neighborhoods. And I want to make sure that not just MLK area, not just the black neighborhoods, but all neighborhoods all over the city of Shreveport look the same. Because once I become mayor, it won't be no such thing as low class, middle class, or high class. I plan to make sure that everybody's in the same class, so no one can look down on the next person because they live in this neighborhood and this person lives in that neighborhood. We need to all have decent accountability here in the city of Shreveport. Thank you.
I'm gonna repeat the question. If you have plans for changing the city's current budget to trim waste, please elaborate on where the waste is in the current budget and what you specifically plan to cut.
Thank you. First of all, on day one, we're gonna ask for an audit and an efficiency study. We're gonna do a line by line to say exactly where the dollars are going. But the first place that I know that I could cut is an administration budget. It's top heavy. It's too top heavy there already. So I know I can get at least 20 million out of that particular one, top heavy. So once we go into looking at the line items and seeing where those particular issues are, then we're gonna cut back so we can put those dollars to use in these communities, in the streets, in drainage, in those particular areas. So those are the areas that I'll look at. Thank you.
Ms. Tyler, same question.
Thank you so much. As I have started looking at the budget for the city of Shreveport, I've determined that from one department to the other, there is really not people working together. And when you don't work together within the department, within an organization, waste will occur. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make sure that we're not duplicating our efforts and wasting money. And when we do that, we'll be able to find where the waste is. I cannot tell you where the waste is because I'm not in the seat yet. But once I am the mayor of this city, we're gonna make sure that we look at everybody's budget. The budgets come from the different departments. I know that the city council approves all of the budgets, and I know that there's been an attempt to make sure that we can eliminate waste. But I believe that when we work together, we'll be able to find where those dollars are when we can cut. Sometimes traveling too much will create waste. Other times when you have people who are doing the same kinds of, providing the same kind of services instead of working together, waste will occur.
We're out of time, Ms. Tyler.
Thank you.
Ms. Provenza, same question.
Okay, and I'm actually gonna address a little bit more than just the budget. Because of public records request, I've been able to get access to all the contracts. I have put a big target on my chest because there are people who know that I'm looking at their contracts. There have been 99-year agreements and they are getting 15% commission, and when I take office, those will stop. It's enough for us, our citizens, to continue to pay in our taxes and not get the true value that other cities and their citizens are capable of getting. This group of people just had a meeting yesterday. I had a police officer come to me and ask me, Ms. Provenza, do you carry a gun? Do you need protection? Because these groups know that I'm coming after those contracts. But I am doing it because it has got to end. Someone has got to clean it up. Because what's happening in Shreveport and also the nation is the poor are getting
I'm sorry, we're out
poorer.
of time, Ms. Provenza. Mr. Jenkins, same question.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to find too many people sitting up here that could give you a specific. I think you're listening. I know your ears are open. It's going to give you a specific about something they're going to cut. Because it's not as easy as people would want you to believe. Now you can realize some savings, which we have been doing by reducing spending. Each department has been asked for the last 2 to 3 years to reduce spending at least 5% over the year before. In fact, this year alone, we were able to return $1.2 million to the general fund. But you're not going to find people that's going to tell you something specific about a cut, because unless you're involved in that process, you cannot make a responsible statement like that. You'll be irresponsible to say it. Are you going to cut public safety? Are you going to cut public works? Are you going to cut property standards? You say you're cutting the administration budget. You're cutting it for more than what the administration gets on an annual basis. Ladies and gentlemen, check out
We're out
the
of time, Mr.
facts
Jenkins.
after the meeting. Thank you.
Just to clarify, Patrick, yes, you all can read a budget, that's a pro forma. What I stated is, I was reading and studying the comprehensive audited financial statements of 265 pages. And the last time I saw businesses or anybody that wanted to know about financial statements, they didn't call a geologist or a lawyer to read audited financial statements. They called we degreed accountants. And I also was the degreed accountant for the city of Shreveport in 1991. I know the city funds. And I'll tell you exactly what I'd like to cut. One of them, put my water fund back into general fund where I left it in 91. It's an enterprise fund. And to make it real quick, enterprise funds are done for profit in governmental. They're making money on the backs of citizens on their water bill. My father didn't build that line in 1955 to come to the state to make money off the backs of the people. It needs to be back in general fund. That would cut a tremendous
We're out of time,
amount.
Ms. Arpino.
Thank you.
Will you please answer the next question? That question is,
Yes, ma'am.
reportedly, there is a stigma attached to our community now because of the Harrelson landfill and the burning fires and toxic smell and problems in this area. Now, what is your plan to ensure the plant is closed down and remains closed?
Well, first off, let me deal with the stigma. And those of you old enough remember Clyde Fant, where all the wrecked cars used to be. I was the contractor that the city called to go and backfill over and make Clyde Fant what it is today. And if you remember back, it was all wrecked cars and glass, and it was an awful thing back in 1977, okay? It was a lot worse looking than what you have now. The DEQ and the EPA will protect you on that landfill. If they don't, and I'm sitting in that chair as a contractor, believe me, I just attended the National Waterway Convention in DC in Bossier last week. Believe me, with all 470 of us, as mayor, I will take care of that landfill if it's not closed correctly. Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins, same question.
You know, I'm very strong on neighborhoods. I'm very strong on communities because that's where we live. I can tell you that my record will show that I've often used our zoning laws to try to keep things out of our communities that we did not want there. I think you should go back and take a look at that landfill, the operation of that landfill. Who supported that kind of a thing? Who would allow something like that to come into your community? I assure you that Sam Jenkins would never have supported any landfill this close to residents. Sam Jenkins would never have supported the expansion of any such operation of that landfill. We have taken steps by sending a resolution to the governor for the closure of that landfill so they know as a governing body we don't want it here. And we've also retained counsel to make sure that we're monitoring the legal steps so that DEQ and others will know that we intend for the landfill to be closed.
Okay, and I'm speaking as a neighbor on this as well. I live in North Highlands. I moved back 5 years ago. You may have recognized me in some of the Harrelson landfill meetings. I have, as a geologist, I'm going to say, worked with the EPA on Superfund sites. And Lyndon, you know, the DEQ was my customer, and I stood up and I protested against them at those meetings. Afterwards, they came to me and they said, "Why are you speaking against us?" And I said, "Because you have dropped the ball." And I talked to Lyndon, I said, "Lyndon, you have got to pull the EPA on this one. DEQ has dropped the ball. They do not have the best interest of the residents at hand." What is very concerning about the landfill, it is closed. I drove by, I had an appointment at Amos the other day, and there was a dump truck pulling up. And fortunately, the DEQ did come out. The gate was not locked, but it was closed with the chain. And the lady came out with her little clipboard, and she sent the dump truck on. It is a C&D landfill, meaning construction and debris. What that means is there is no liner. There is no liner underneath that landfill. Everything that has gone in the air is now going down to the groundwater. And so whoops, hello, can I have the other microphone? Anyway, so what needs to be done is we need to have a full EPA closure with a full groundwater contamination study on that landfill. It cannot be certified closed until it has been fully investigated, because we have all the information that is needed from the volatile organics and the air studies that there are materials beyond concrete and construction debris in that landfill. So please, whether I'm elected mayor or not, do not allow that landfill to be closed until there has been a full investigation and, thank you, until it's been a full investigation and we know that our groundwater is safe. Thank you.
Okay, when I'm elected mayor of this city, we will ensure that the professionals, the experts who know how to ensure that the landfill is closed permanently will be brought in. We'll work with DEQ, EPA. We'll make sure that we monitor that process step by step. And once we determine that all of the health risks involved have been removed, then we will work diligently with the citizens in this community to ensure that that landfill never reopens. And I'm concerned also about all the neighborhoods. We want to make sure that no other landfill is put in any neighborhood in this city. We know that from experience with this one, that it is a health concern and a health risk. So we will monitor, we'll work with all of the experts. We will bring in the people that know how to make it happen, and we will ensure that it stays closed.
Mr. Williams, same question.
Okay, thank you. We will definitely continue to work with the community on this particular issue. DEQ has come in and actually totally closed the landfill, but there's some cleanup efforts that have to take place, and that's the, I guess, the direction of DEQ. And so as the next mayor of Shreveport, we continue to work with those individuals to make sure that this landfill is closed and remain closed. Thank you.
Mr. Slack?
Yes, good evening again. As far as the landfill is concerned, to be honest, I don't know much about the landfill, but I do know that no landfill should be placed near or close to any neighborhood. Ms. Allerton, I do agree with you, with you and Patrick Williams' statement with that, because it shouldn't be a landfill that has any type of waste or anything should be situated anywhere close to a neighborhood. We should have a designated area. But once I become mayor, knowing that I don't know too much about politics as of right now, but I'm getting my foot wet, I will be hiring somebody that's politically educated in order to run that type of operation, to make sure that it gets closed and stay closed. But there should not be a landfill close to any neighborhood, because every neighborhood, whether it's a black neighborhood or a white neighborhood, needs to be greatly respected as any other neighborhood. Thank you.
Mr. Slack, you can answer the last question here. How do you plan to sell Shreveport to larger corporations and build us up to be an economic hub which increases job opportunities for our citizens? 1 minute.
Whether people like this answer or not, if you have any questions out there, I'll make this statement. Call 318-946-8553, because my shirt says it all. I plan on legalizing marijuana right here in the city of Shreveport to bring on taxes, bring on tax dollars, give people jobs. So we laughing, but most of us laughing are in the closet behind marijuana. So come on out the closet and start admitting what you do, so that way we can tax these dollars and make us some money. You heard me?
As we stated when we first started, that MLK is one of the largest black areas in the nation. You can go from elementary school to your second year in college, just here in this particular area. We have the KCS here. Now with the advent of I-49, this is actually an area that we can make an example of to really grow this particular area. And that's what I'm committed to doing, working with private investors, doing public-private partnerships. I've already traveled to China and actually introduced them to this particular area, and working with some developments that can actually grow. Southern University has an incubator. I mean, that's a great way to actually educate our citizens and actually train them to take on some of these great paying jobs that we can actually implement in this particular area. So MLK is going to be one of the target areas that I seek for economic development, and that's something that I'm making a commitment to as the next mayor of Shreveport.
Thank you. May I ask if you can recite the question or
Sure will.
repeat the question?
How do you plan to sell Shreveport to larger corporations and build us up to be an economic hub which increases job opportunities for our citizens? 1 minute.
Thank you so much. My plan is to be able to market Shreveport for the great place that it is. I think we have a self-image problem, and I'll keep saying that. There are so many outstanding things that we have to offer. Now, we must first clean up our city, beautify it, and then we must let people know some of the great things we have. We have festivals year-round. We have entertainment that comes in constantly. We just have some great things. We have the American Roll Center here that is awesome. The capital of the American Roll Center is here. Why don't we have a beautiful city? We can beautify this place, we can clean it up, and then we can attract businesses. We're going to educate the population to be able to take on the jobs once they come in. That's the other thing. I'm going to work closely with all of the institutions of education, that's K-12 and higher ed. And then we will sell this city starting with ourselves, and then we will go out nationally, letting people know what a great place it is to live. Thank you.
At the foundation of my platform is an extremely strong economic development plan. Louisiana has been falling behind the rest of the nation. Shreveport is falling behind the rest of the state. We have been losing and losing and losing because we have not addressed the rural infrastructure issue, which is a tech-based infrastructure. The rest of the economy is a global 21st century economy, and we cannot expect to compete with a 20th century mindset. So I have a very strong economic plan that addresses a lot of the social issues that we have in Shreveport. It addresses our workforce issues that we have in Shreveport, and it addresses at the primary our economic development engines. We have great tools currently at the state level, but we need to build these
I'm sorry, we're out of time,
locally.
Ms. Provenza. Mr. Jenkins, same question.
I certainly want to focus on our local economy. That's going to be something that I'm going to do immediately as mayor. Within my first 100 days as mayor, I will appoint an economic development director for the city of Shreveport. That's very important. It's not just a matter of giving somebody a job, ladies and gentlemen. We need the economic development efforts of the city to be focused and coordinated, and it needs daily management. That's why we need to have someone involved in that. I think the port of Caddo Shreveport has shown us how important it is to have a venue for large factories and companies to come in. I would like to complement that by also upgrading some of our smaller industrial parks. You got your North Shreveport Industrial Park, Kenya Shreve Industrial Park. Let's begin to upgrade those and have those out there to market and offer and try to bring in some corporations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about putting people to work. I think every able-bodied man and woman who's willing to work should have a job. Let's not overlook some of the things that are available to us right now. A $175 million bond issue and a $350 million infrastructure
We're out of
package
time.
will generate jobs.
Ms. Arpino, same question.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Thank you for this question. This question is quite easy for me. I've been working on it for 9 years already. And just recently, I have gotten, this last week with Jay Jordan, Lieutenant Governor, the National Waterways Convention, here, it was held here out of DC. Bobby Jindal, representative, was there. It's easy. I-49 comes right through here, 3.8 miles, and it brings $804 million of economic development right here, right near MLK. With it comes, we would be the largest distribution center in a 600-mile radius. Remember, Chicago is only 650. With it comes many, 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 many distribution companies with many, many hundreds of high-paying jobs. That's why I'm running for mayor. That's why I've been working on it so hard this year. Remember, we've never had $804 million of economic development when it's built every year into infinity in the life of Shreveport. I can bring it to you. I've been working on it 9 years. Put me in the mayor's office and let me do it for you.
Ms.
Thank you.
Arpino, we're out of time, but you can have your 1 minute wrap and platform.
Okay, well, let me continue. That's how important I-49 is. I-49 will come so close to here And the first place those distribution centers are gonna wanna go is Allendale, MLK. Because right here, we have the port, we have the airports, we have everything, with it, we will have east-west roads, north-south roads. I've been here 50 years, but I come down from DC. My father worked on the Beltway, if you've ever been to DC. He also did secondary water lines at the Pentagon. I'm used to large projects. We need I-49 coming in here for $804 million of economic development every year into infinity. It will bring in jobs. Right now, we're so close to it. As mayor, I can make it happen very easily. We need it. And also, our city water, 22% to 32% of our bills have went up since they made it an enterprise fund. Everybody 60
We're out
years
of
old
time,
and
Mr.
over
Rapino. I'm
needs a
sorry
break on
about
their
that.
water bill. Thank
Mr.
you.
Jenkins, 1 minute wrap and platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, my name is Sam Jenkins. I would like to go to work for you. I'd like to be your next mayor. I believe that the experience and know-how that I have received by being in City Hall the past 8 years has prepared me to assume the duties of mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very critical time for us. It really is. After Inauguration Day, someone has got to be able to step into the mayor's office and move the city forward. I assure you that I am strong on neighborhoods, I'm strong on communities. This is local government, and that's really what it's about. It's about delivering services to you. If something is wrong in your neighborhood, you don't want to lecture about leadership and management. You want somebody that can deliver the service that you're looking for. I believe that my experience, what I've been able to be involved in on a daily basis for the past 8 years, have prepared me to do that job for you. You will see where I've supported neighborhood initiatives. I restored full funding to the NIP program. I've tried to make sure that we have property standards.
I'm sorry, we're out of time, Mr. Jenkins.
And I'm Victoria Provenza, number 97 on your ballot. I'm not going to tell you what I can do for you. I'm going to show you what I've done for other communities across the United States. My customers have agreed to come to Shreveport, and we're going to showcase a lot of the projects that we have done there for their economic development programs to bring success and vitality to their communities. I am a native daughter. I grew up in North Highlands. My family owned the Philippac, if you remember that, on the corner of MLK and North Market, if you shopped there. It's from Bobrowski's, and it was Vince's Northport Inn. So I've been in this community for a very long time. I was one of those people that had to move away. You know, I had to leave in '86 to find other success out in the nation because I couldn't find it here. So I am now committing the rest of my career to making my home in my community a great place to live. Thank you.
Out of time for you, Ms. Provenza. Ms. Tyler?
Thank you. Again, my name is Ollie Tyler, and I am number 99 on your ballot, so please go out and vote for me, because I have a vision for this city. A vision that says that it will become a thriving, robust, vibrant city, where every citizen, each of you, will be afforded a safe environment, economic opportunity, educational training, and a good quality of life. And I can tell you that I have examined the local government, but I have the experience. I've already worked with, I've already united people throughout this city to make things happen for the young people when I served as CEO. But I have the experience of how to utilize taxpayers' money, and I have been a good steward of the taxpayers' money. We've been over budgets that have been in the excess of $425 million a year. We've grown the reserves. We have worked in partnership with many, many nonprofits and other entities across this city to be able to move things forward as a leader and a manager.
We're out of time, Ms. Tyler. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
Look, I'm not going to sell you any pie in the sky. What we have to do, go back to the basics. We have to realize the condition that Shreveport is in. It's all over. We have to go back to the basics. Make sure you have clean water. Make sure that sewer is not backing up in your bathtub. Make sure that your streets are in good condition so it doesn't tear up your cars. Those are the basics. Once you do that, you have to clean this city up. No one's coming here in the condition that it is now. Our education system. Look, Bentler Steel that's here. It's the companies here, but the employees are not moving here. They're moving to Bossier, moving some other places because of the education system. We have to address those things. Go back to the basics, and all these other things will come. You have to concentrate on those things first. I'm Patrick Williams, number 100 on your ballot. I ask for your support.
Mr. Slack?
Yes, in my final remarks, I come to realize that the Bible is real. It say, may the first be last and last be first. But anyway, I'm Evangelist Melvin Gerard Slack Jr., ballot number 98. And true enough, I don't have any experience like these other five, have any of it as a politician. But I'm realizing one thing, politics are very dirty. It's very crooked. Got a lot of dirty politicians. And I'm beginning to understand that. But as my first year as mayor, as I've stated before, I won't even take a salary my first year due to the fact that I want to show, the Lord wants to show Shreveport that he actually called me for this job, whether I know a lot about it or not. But I won't even take a salary my first year, along with legalizing marijuana. We will legalize marijuana here in the city of Shreveport if it's the only city in the nation to be legalized, whether people like it or not. We will be blacktopping all the roads all over Shreveport. And we will be renaming the streets all over Shreveport, just like we have a Martin Luther King Jr.
I'm
Drive.
sorry about that.
The list will go on.
This concludes our political candidates forum. If you want to give all of the candidates that came out.
First, I'd like to apologize to Ms. Anna Maria Pino. I'm sorry, our office manager had a death in her family this week, so the board secretary and myself had to help complete the program. We do apologize. We made every effort.
I understand. I just wanted to clarify.
I understand. It was an honest mistake.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to recognize any other candidates. If you're here and you're running for office, you may stand at this time and just state your name, please. We have two. Okay.